But first of all, good morning, everyone. Let's begin by giving tzedakah. Tzedakah, and as we learned, the word tzedakah is not exactly charity. It's a little bit more than that. Charity means that you have your money and you give it to others. You don't have to give it, but you give it. That's a very nice thing. Tzedakah means that the money is really not yours. The money that you have really belongs to God, and He gave it to you so that you'll give it to others. It's just tzedek. Tzedek means justice. It's just the just and the right thing to do. But when you do what you're supposed to do, that's pretty unusual. Most people don't do that. So giving, it's not that hard. You don't have to have any books to learn particularly how to do it. You just have to maybe have a book to learn. You have to do it. But what it means is be kind. Be kind. Give to others actual, physical, real money. Give somebody, give them a penny, give them a dime, give a handshake, give a smile. Do something physical to help it. So here we go. Charity. Charity is a tremendous spiritual effect on the whole entire world. The benefit. In fact, that's the whole reason that everyone is here in the world. And that's the reason the Jews are here in the world, to teach everyone to do exactly that. Be charitable, give to others. Just 1 minute. Just 1 second. Give me one moment here. There it is. The winter is coming in. And today, Baruch Hashem, was rain. And there's nothing like a good piece of tissue when it starts raining. Okay, ready? So what did we learn yesterday? We learned yesterday that God creates the world, and that He creates the world in a way that He wants to react to what we do. And therefore, the world is created in a very, very complicated way. But the way God reacts is no less complicated. So that God creates the world, that's it. The word, that's pretty much nature. Nature, there's spiritual nature, there's physical nature. And you can tap into these spiritual natures and physical natures and things. See how the stars go around, the world go around. Somebody once brought me these books of different practices in Hinduism and meditations, and the tremendously complicated worlds with levels, with this, with all this stuff, and all that stuff is, it's true. There are these things. You're not supposed to worship those things, but the upper worlds are tremendously complicated. Now, here the Rebbe is talking about something a little bit different. He's talking about what happens in the upper worlds when we do what we're supposed to, how God reacts to what we're doing. So it's all really tied in to one another. Right? So the Rebbe says like this: the world is created for us to fix up the world. That's what God created. Asher bora Elokim lasot. It says right near the end of the 6 days of creation, in the beginning of the Bible. Asher bora Elokim lasot. God created the world that we should fix it up. How are we supposed to fix it up? So there's three attitudes. One attitude is, who says I have to fix it up? Number two attitude is, I'll figure it out myself. Number three attitude is, I want to do it the way God says, the way the rabbis say, the way the Torah says. That's number three. I'm going to do the way the Torah says. So if you decide whether you're a Jew or not, a non-Jew has what's called the 7 Noahide commandments, and the Jew has what's called the 613 commandments. It's a little more complicated, but that when you do what you're supposed to do, so it fixes up the world. Fixes up the world. So the Rebbe says the Jews have an additional thing, and that's called Shabbat. And at Shabbat, so to speak, you're not fixing up the world. Shabbat shows what God does. Shabbat is an automatic, you just observe the Shabbat, which means basically not doing things, not lighting fire, not drawing a letter. It's only for Jews. Jews only. Non-Jews can do whatever they want. They can light as many fires as they want. I mean, not destructive, but Shabbos is for the Jews. When the Jews keep the Shabbat, then there's a special, different type of fixing. The world gets fixed up in a different way. And the Rebbe says even that's the difference between Shabbat and even Yom Tov, even the holidays. Even the holidays, you don't have to rest as much. In other words, you still have to. There's still a little bit of bad that you have to fix up. And Shabbat is a little bit of a glimpse of what the world is supposed to be. A world where all you have to do is more good. More good. You're not working to fix up the bad. Okay. So he says, where did we get up to yesterday? 1 minute. This we got up to yesterday. Okay, now this is all taking, this is an underlying theme of this thing is faith. Is faith. You have to believe in this. You can't, there's no proven, the instruments that can indicate how much godliness is drawn down and what the atmospheric differences between Shabbat and the other days, or even what's the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. Even to the degree, I mean, they say that you can tell a Jew from the DNA. That's not so. That's simply not so. You can't tell a Jew because of DNA. DNA cannot tell you who a Jew is. That's ridiculous. A person that converts, right? He converts to Judaism. He's as much a Jew as Moses is, and he has a DNA, a different DNA. It's ridiculous. DNA. A person that thinks he converted properly. A woman, she thinks she converted properly. She thinks that her grandmother converted properly. Her grandmother was converted, right? And everybody thinks she was done properly, but really was done by a reform rabbi. And so it's not good. But she doesn't know. And she keeps all the she teaches her children to keep all the commandments, and her grandchildren are super, super religious. And they marry into a family which was generations of religious Jews, certified Jews, mother after mother, Judaism for this. So they have like all the DNAs from, and the children are not Jewish. The children are not Jewish because the grandmother wasn't converted. So you can't tell. There's no way. The only way you can work this whole business is you have to have faith. You have to have faith that it's true. You have to have faith that God exists. You have to have faith that God is good. Right? And this faith is very often tested. That's the basis of Judaism, that Abraham was tested by God. So the same thing, we're sort of being tested over here, and it's a constant thing. If you think that all this business is logical, and I understand that God is one, that's good, that's wonderful, but don't forget that faith. There has to be the underlying faith that really, essentially, we don't know what we're talking about. We really essentially, at Mount Sinai, when they did see God, 40 days later, they worshiped the golden calf because they lost that faith. They lost that underlying basic thing that I'm not the boss. I'm just a servant. As soon as you lose that, then you've lost the insanity, the craziness of Judaism, which is an essential element. That's what's kept us going. We've been surrounded by a sea of hatred since Abraham. Abraham was called the Ivri. He was on the other side. The whole world was on the second side. Or the whole world was on one side. He was on the second side. So we can't lose that. This can't become it's supposed to become as logical as possible. That's why we're learning it. We're trying to understand. But can't forget that basically we really don't know what we're talking about. The God is creating us. This is against, the God reacts to what we do, right? It's a matter of faith, but it's true. If the Rebbe say it's true, then it's true. And when you understand that it's true, then it's a whole different business. And of course, this truth is tested, right? You have all opportunities to steal, opportunities to cheat, opportunities to et cetera, et cetera. And you get depressed and you get this, and then those things are not supposed to do according to Judaism. Okay. So it says, therefore, in the holidays, there's a little bit of fixing up. In the holidays, you fix things up. So the holidays, it's not pure like Shabbat. It's not purely godly like Shabbat. Shabbat, God does everything. On Yom Tov, on the weekdays, we have to, so to speak, do everything. We have to do everything. And on Yom Tov, it's like a combination. A combination. So on combinations, as Yom Tov, because of Yom Tov, there's a little bit of birur. You have to still refine things. So again, every time we use the world the way God wants, according to the Torah, that refines the world. God reacts. On the holidays, in Judaism, Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot, the holidays, they're called holy days. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do, right? You can't ride your car, you can't light a fire for no reason, but you can use a fire in order to cook food. It says it's permissible, malechet ochel nefesh, things which are there for food. You're allowed to prepare food, like baking, boiling, afia, baking, boiling. You can even slaughter animals on Yom. If you haven't got an animal, you can kill a chicken. You can slaughter a chicken, and you can eat a chicken. Yeah, there's laws of how to slaughter things, but it's permissible. The Eino also rak katsira v'zariya. It's only forbidden things like which are not directly connected to food in some way. The laws are pretty complicated, but ulefi shahutra katzat melechet mochel nefesh. There's birur v'shayach if so because it is permissible, or it's permissible to cook and to bake. So we see that there are certain things that we do have to do, we can do. So there is certain work that we have to refine the world. Therefore, it means that there must be some impurities on the holidays that are not taken care of by the holiday. Shabbat takes care of everything. Ki b'shat simcha, because I'm saying, Pasul v'tikun, who l'machadei l'miskene, to make the poor people happy. In other words, invite poor people to your table so that everybody should be happy and rejoice. Ki shat simcha, because the time of happiness is to make everybody happy. Like it says, v'samachta b'chakecha, you have to be happy in your holidays. So not like Shabbat. On Shabbat, you're not allowed to cook, and therefore you don't have to take guests in on Shabbat. It's a good thing to do, but you don't have to do it. And the Yom Tov, it says you're supposed to give charity you're supposed to take care that all the people have what to eat on the holiday. You're supposed to take care of the poor people in general, but on the holiday, you're supposed to take guests. You're supposed to be happy and open and positive there to you and the Levite and the Ger, because this happiness, this fixes up all of the negative things in the world, the severities in the world, the things that hide godliness. Happiness takes them away. But it's telling you that on the holidays, there are things that have to be removed. Not like on Shabbat that automatically fixes up. Therefore, you have to, the Sameach et Kulam, make sure that everyone is happy, that all of them should be included in this level of happiness. You can know that, and like it's known, a person that is happy, when you're happy, you want everyone to be happy. This fixes up the limitations and the severities and the negative things in the world. Because you make everyone equal. And you don't make any distinctions between poor and rich and good and bad on the holidays. And then God does the same thing. That fixes up the world. The miskin, a person that doesn't give on the holidays, it doesn't give to the poor people. He's not doing his job. He doesn't fix up this the negative things in the world. The nishara perish, and there remains the negative things, the waste. Therefore, it says therefore, the punishment is according to the crime. Punishment fits the crime. That it says in the prophet that if you don't take care of the poor people on the Yom Tov, then the excrement of your holidays will be put on your face. Of course, it's a metaphorical way of saying it. It's not actually happening, but the metaphor is implying what's going on in the spiritual worlds. That you receive spiritually the excrement of the upper worlds that you didn't fix up, because you caused that there should remain this leftovers, haperish, what is it? The spiritual feces ba'avur because shaloyim tikadim. Okay, what does it mean? The spiritual feces. I mean, every human being has got. Every house usually has a toilet in it. They used to have the toilet used to be outside, or even more exactly, every human being has a stomach, a digestive system, and part of that digestive system is that you go to the bathroom. Well, the reason it's that way, we're made in the image of God, and the same thing is also by God. How does this figure out by God? So it says, what exactly is this thing of how do you say excrement? It's not a nice topic, but that's the topic we're talking about, right? A person goes to the bathroom, right? Goes to the bathroom. So that excrement that he has, that becomes food for plants. This is like a big one thing for plants. And so the plants live from this fertilizer, from the fertilizer, right? So this, which is to us seems to be waste and excrement, you get rid of it. By the plants, this is their food. This fertilizes them. So it's the same thing. So what is bad to the upper worlds comes down and becomes food for the lower world. So it's the same thing by God. What in the end is food? Food is the life force. So the same thing is by God. There's life force in the upper worlds, and the life force which cannot be used by the angels or whatever in the upper worlds, that comes down and becomes food for the lower worlds. And there's lower levels, there's angels which are right above this world. That's called the Sa'arim. They're called what, the chieftain angels, whatever they're called. 70 of them, it says that what they don't use that comes into the world, it makes the pleasures of this world. So the excrement we're talking about here are the pleasures and the obstacles that are in this world, the things that keep the negative things in the world alive. Just like fertilizer keeps the plants alive. Well, the plants are positive, but an animal doesn't want to become a plant, right? Doesn't want to become a vegetable. An animal wants to move around, do things like that, right? Doesn't want to be paralyzed, lay there like a plant. but nevertheless, so the same thing in the world. The food that for the bad things in the world, the negative things in the world, that's called excrement, and it comes from our misdeeds, or it comes from our not fixing up the world. God made the world in a way that has to be fixed up. That's, so to speak, the excrement of this world. We have to elevate it. And so if you don't do it, okay, that's on Yom Tov. But on Shabbat, even though the law you don't give to the poor person, the punishment is not so great. You're supposed to help everybody all the time, but the punishment on Shabbos is not so great, because on Shabbat, in Perish Kolol, because on Shabbat, God takes care of the excrement. He takes care of the bad things. Because the Shabbat is a gift that God gives to the Jewish people. That's a gift. Shabbat is the day that we're reminded that really everything is a gift all the time. But in the weekdays, it's a gift that we have to fix up. And on the Shabbat, it's a gift that we don't have to fix up. So to speak, it's like the puzzle. You get the puzzle. We talked about this example I made up. You go to the store and you buy a puzzle, right? And the puzzle has 50,000 pieces in it. And you go and you find out that the puzzle has 5 million pieces in it. And you look and see something must be wrong. You look at the instructions, and the instructions say this puzzle has 5 million pieces. Only 50,000 are usable. Get rid of the rest, and use the 50,000. Have a good day. And you look on this on the cover, and there's a picture. The picture what you're striving for, right? The fixed up picture. There it is. It's all fixed up. It shows a beautiful sunset over Jerusalem or something like that. Whatever it is, a sunset over the Rocky Mountains. And there's a couple of cows over there and a couple of this, and it sees a little village and a little this. You see, everything is all fixed up. But you open up the package and you open up the box, and it's not fixed up. It's all messed up. So to speak, the weekdays are like trying to fix up, get rid of the bad, and put everything together. And Shabbat is like the picture that's on the cover. It's showing how everything is fixed up. Shabbat, everything is fixed. You just have to appreciate the Shabbat. Okay. What are we talking about all this for? We're talking about the weekdays, how we draw godliness down, how God reacts in the weekdays, and how God reacts in Shabbat, or more exactly, how God acts on Shabbat and how God reacts in the weekdays. And this is all coming from God is the creator, right? He's creating the world with a purpose. The purpose is we have to fix it up. So it's different on Shabbat than it is on the weekdays. So on the weekdays, the good is hidden, like the puzzle that has all these millions of pieces you don't need. You have to work on it. On Shabbat, it's clearer. It's clear. Okay. So this goes back to, let's go back to just the original thing. Here. The name of this mimer is Yegalalo Tame, will be revealed to you the reason. Now let's see, maybe I can get this up over here. 1 second. This is part of a song of Shabbat that the Arizal wrote. Arizal, we sing the song on Shabbat. What is in the daytime of Shabbat, right? There will be revealed to you the reason of the 12 loaves of bread that are in the holy temple. Let me try to get this over here. Let's try to get this over here. 1 second. Let's see if I can get this thing over here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's in Aramaic. Yegale lon will be revealed to us. Good? Yes. Ta'ame, the reason. Ta'ame, the reason. The bis. The bis asar. Bis. I think it's bis, right? Asar. The lachme. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Let's see. Here it goes. Oh. Here it. Milan, here it goes. Yeah. Good. We got it. Good. What's going on over here? 1 second. Why is this thing over here? You have to do this. Get rid of this thing. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Oh, can you see this? See, they won't let me go. Here we go. Here. No. You got a little time. Here it goes. Let's make it bigger. Okay, can we make it bigger? Yeah. Let's see. We'll make it bigger like this. How do we do this? There must be a little thing over here. All right, let's try like this. Here we go. Ready? Yes. No, doesn't work. Oh, see? Here we go. There we got it. Let's move this here. Oh. Yegala lon tame. Can you see this, everyone? Can you see it? All right. Yegala lon tame. There will be. It's a song that we sing on Shabbat in the afternoon. Azam on bahashta. Asad elista the tzafra dishvat tava azamin bahashta. Says I'm arranging the meal of the daytime of Shabbat. Each meal of Shabbat is a different level. This level is what's called Atika Kadisha. Nahora Yishreba, lights will shine in it, the Kedusha from the great holiness, V'chamra Tava, and with good wine, the Beit Tade within it, Tachde, that in it will be happy. Okay, here we go. This one. Yagalalon timer. This is the mimer that we're learning. Yagalalon timer. There will be revealed to us the reason. The bis resar. Oh, I'm sorry, I did this wrong. The bis resar nami of the 12 loaves of bread. Tresar is 12. Aramaic. Will be revealed the reason that is in the 12 loaves of bread. Okay, the inun ashpishmei, that they are in the name of God. Ready? Kafila uklisha. That's what we're talking about. Kafila doubled, and weak. W-E-A-K. double and weak. So there's a secret of the 12 loaves of bread in the Holy Temple. They had 12 loaves of bread that they would change every Shabbat. They would change the loaves of bread, and they would take out the old ones, and they would be eaten, and they would put 12 new ones in. So there's 12 loaves of bread. And there are Jews, I think even Arizal, in Chabad they don't do it, but there are Jews that have 12 loaves of bread on their table on Shabbat, just to commemorate this. Okay, so of course everything in the Holy Temple was a big secret, big mystery. So the secret of the 12 loaves of bread, and they are kafila, double, and weak. That's the name of God. Again, I'll reveal you, there will be revealed to us the reason that is in the 12 loaves of bread, and they are in the name of God, Bishmei, the name of God, which is Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei, the 4 letters of God's name, double and weak. Double and weak. Okay, what is this double and what is weak? What does it mean? So we'll see in a minute. We'll get back to it. Here we go. Ready? Yes. 1 second. Torah Or. So let's go back to this thing. I know this is a little bit Kabbalistic, but if you put it in the book, so it must be that he wants everyone to read it. So let's try to understand it. Here we go. Okay. And Shabbos, it says, even though that we don't, even if you don't give to the poor people, there's not such a big punishment. Why? Because Shabbat, the main thing doesn't depend on what we do. It comes from above to below. Below Yagur Choran, by God, there's no bad. Okay. This is which is drawn down on Shabbat, or on the weekdays that we draw down. This is in 2 ways. Kfila ukalisha. It can be done in double or weak. How do you say weak? The chalash, the kalisha. Pirish kalisha, what does it mean, kalisha? Now we're talking about God's name over here, right? So God's name is creating the whole entire world and the spiritual worlds as well. So God's name has 4 letters in it. And these 4 letters are 4 different types of, if you want to call it, reality. 4 different types of reality. Yud is the highest. That's the beginning, so to speak, of creation, just a little dot. The first Hey, that's widening out. That's a revelation of God. Let's say that's the world of Atzilut, the first Hey. Generally speaking, the first Yud, that's Atzilut, and the Hey is Bria, the world of Bria. Then the Vav is all the spiritual worlds. And the last Hey, that's this physical world. Okay, so God's name, therefore, is weak and double. What's weak? Weak is how God draws down from the letter Yud to the letter Vav. Okay, what's God's name? God's name is God is powerful. God is infinitely powerful, right? God is infinitely almighty. God is infinitely powerful. Okay, so we're saying that which God is almighty and that God is infinite, he's powerful, that is how God comes down. That God is, so to speak, come down to be accessible to us, that we can even call him a name. That he's powerful, that he's great. So that's the letter Yud. The letter Yud, from the Yud, that's to show us how God has this ability to make himself, so to speak, very, 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 very small, to reveal a very small amount of reality. That's the letter Yud. From this small amount of reality that God reveals himself, this is the source of all the worlds. But nevertheless, it is a tremendous concealment of God, Yud, concealment of God. From this concealment of God comes all the spiritual worlds. That's the letter Vav. That from Yud becomes the letter Vav. That the Yud itself can be drawn down into the letter Vav. The upper worlds, the spiritual worlds, they have a very good grasp of what God is. God is much more revealed in the spiritual worlds than he is in this physical world. Of course, what of God is revealed? this letter Yud, which is infinitely small, contracted. We said before the Tzimtzum. Remember, we learned that last week. Tremendously small amount of godliness. But nevertheless, this small amount of godliness that there is can be revealed in its entirety, so to speak, in these spiritual worlds. That's why the angels are all burning up and they're all going crazy for God, because they realize that they are just creations and that God is creating them. Okay. And that's from Yud to Hey. From Yud to Vav, I'm sorry, from Yud to Vav. Vav is the spiritual world. Vav is 6. That represents the emotions of God. That's the spiritual world. Kilafisha Yud, because the Yud is very, very small. It's a tzimtzum. It's a tremendous contraction of God's light. Lochein, therefore, Yochal Liot is able to be from it, Hamshacha, drawing down in the letter of a Vav from the Yud. If you look at the letter Vav, you'll see that the top of the letter Vav has a Yud in it. So that Yud itself just becomes drawn down from the Yud itself. And so therefore the spiritual worlds, they get a good glimpse at what God really is. That's the Yud. That's called Kalisha. God made himself very weak, so to speak, very small in the Yud. And that weakness, smallness, becomes very great to us. That's the spiritual worlds. Okay, but this world is created from the letter Hey. Now, there's 2 Heys in God's name. There's 2 Heys in God's name. There's the upper Hey and the lower Hey. The upper Hey is the opposite of the Yud. Yud is how God conceals himself, has the ability to make himself very small. The Hey is how God can take this letter Yud and expand it. That's the letter Yud becomes expanded to Orach V'Rochev. This, like we said, is like the world of Bria, if you want to call it that. It's the source of all, it's above all the spiritual worlds. Okay, but this now is not the letter Yud. The letter Yud is God's ability to conceal himself. The letter Hey is God's ability to expand, to make revelation, and this cannot be revealed in this physical world. The upper Hey of God's name cannot be revealed in the lower Hey. So what do we say? God's name is Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Hey. So the Yud of God's name can be revealed in the Vav, in the spiritual world. But the upper Hey of God's name cannot be revealed in the lower Hey. The lower Hey is this physical world. It can't get it. Oh, so therefore the Hey in this world is double. The Hey is what we see, but there's also a Hey inside of it, which we said before that's what's called a milui, right? All the letters, we fill them up. We fill the letters up. So like Yud can be filled up with Yud, Vav, Daled, etc. We talked about that before, and that makes the different gematrias of the name Ban and Sag. So the last Hey of God's name, that's us. That's here, this physical world. And in this physical world, that's the last Hey of God's name. And the godliness which is inside of this letter Hey, because God is creating everything, it's concealed. That's the double. That's the godliness, which is the Hey, which is concealed inside of this physical world. Here we go. Kamoshu Lamaila, the second Hey of God's name cannot be revealed below like it is above. Orach Rocha, wideness, infinity cannot be revealed in this world, and that's what the first Hey is. Ella Hamshacha, in order to create this world, it has to be drawn down into the last Hey, which is the different Hey. Hey Acheret, it's a different Hey. The Hey, by the way, corresponds to the 5 organs of speech. And God created the world through his speech. So that's the lower Hey. The 5 organs of speech are your lips and your tongue and your teeth and your palate and your throat. That's the 5. There's some letters which come from, in the book Sefer Yetzirah, it explains these letters and why they come from different aspects, etc. Which is not just a philosophy book. It says that Rabbah used this book, the Sefer Yetzirah, to create a person. He created the Golem. Also, the Maharal of Prague did the same thing. So we're talking about the source of reality over here, and it says that this physical world here is created from the last Hey of God's name. But inside of this hey, Amshacha hi bebechinas hey acheret, lamata vehi bechinas hamilui. This is the filling of the hey. Hainu koach hey shahaya behelam lamaila. So this upper hey is revealed in the lower hey of God's name, but it's concealed. So therefore, we have what's revealed. That's the letter hey, and the milui, what's filling it up. That's the upper hey. So it's double. It's a double hey. That's the kafila. That's the doubled. Ki la'olam, for always the milui, that which fills up a letter is what's concealed inside of it. Umasha behelam lamaila, and that what is concealed above comes from to be hidden, to be revealed above. So this world, in other words, what's the Rebbe saying? The 4 letters of God's name are 4 letters of reality, of what God really is. This is concealed from us, but we have no idea how much it's concealed from us. So the upper hey of God's name, that's an expansion of the yud. That's how God has the ability to expand infinitely, and that can't be revealed in this world. But it's a hey, it's the letter hey, and this world is created from God's hey, the 5 organs of God's speech. So therefore, God made a double hay. There's the hay that we see, and then there's the source of it is concealed in the hay that we see. That's the double. Okay. That's the idea of kafila. This is the milui. This is the filling of the letter hay. That's the whole idea of inyan machpelah. That's where Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and their wives are buried in machpelah. It's coming to show us that this world is double. What we see and what's concealed inside of it. That's the double. And in the weekdays, we have to work to reveal this. On Shabbat, what's concealed inside is more revealed. God's name is more revealed on Shabbat. But all of this is that we receive by means of these 12 loaves of bread nowadays, in the time there was the temple, etc. These are all considered to be days of exile. Even in the time of the temple, God is supposed to be revealed to the whole world like he was revealed on Mount Sinai. And it didn't happen. In the first temple, the second temple, true exile began when the temple was destroyed. But the fact of the matter is that all this time, the true, real reality was not really revealed in this world. When there was the temple, it was revealed through the 12 loaves of bread. The 12 loaves of bread showed that all the sustenance of the world really comes from the Holy Temple. And the Holy Temple is a revelation of the Creator. So the Creator was revealed a little bit more in the creation. That was through the 12 loaves of bread. It says that there's also 12 different permeations of God's name, that corresponds to the 12 months of the year, and also the 12 hours of the day, and also the 12 tribes that there are. Of a lofty level, but in the future, that's what the song is talking about, of the Arizal. Yagalalan Tamed the Bisres Hanami. There will be revealed the reason, the inside of these 12 loaves. It'll be revealed to everyone, not just in the Holy Temple, but in the whole world. Azai then, lo bechinas kafila. Then there won't be a double anymore. It won't be double. There won't be the world and the hay inside of it that's concealed. And it's only revealed in the Holy Temple. Raka hay atzmo, the hay, the upper hay of God's name, which now is concealed inside of the lower hay, love gilu will be revealed below. And that's really what we pray every day. The upper hay is also called understanding God. And we pray, right, the prayer right before Shema Yisrael, that God have mercy on us. Rachem na'aleinu b'tein b'libeinu bina. Give us understanding. So we understand, we comprehend what really godliness is, that God is really creating us. God is infinitely good. The Torah is the truth. And how important this physical world is. Then there will be revealed, lo tameh, there will be revealed the reason inside of every detail of this world. This world is now the lower hay, and inside it is concealed the higher hay. This was revealed a little bit in the Holy Temple. It's revealed a little bit every Shabbat. That's why we sing the song on Shabbat. But in the future, we're asking God, please reveal to us this secret which is hidden inside of the 12 loaves of bread, the secret which is hidden inside of the lower hay, that's kafila, the double hay, like it says, Bayomahu yeh Hashem echad. But in that day, God will be one, and His name will be one. Now God's name is Yud, Hey, and then Vav Hey. In the future, it'll be Yud, Hey, Yud Hey. 2 times the upper first 2 letters of God's name will be revealed in the physical world 2 times Yud Hey. So that's the idea of Marat Machpelah, where Sarah was buried, because the purpose of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which was passed down to us, is this thing of the double world, the world that we see, and the truth of the reason of this world, which is concealed inside. That's the double. It will be revealed to everyone. Good. Now let's start the next mimer. Ready? Yes. So simply put, what we just finished learning is that this world is concealing something very precious and very wondrous, and it's the secret of food. You see a piece of food, you eat the food. Inside of food makes you alive. It gives you energy. Well, the same thing, the whole entire world is like that. That was hinted at the 12 loaves of bread that were put in the Holy Temple. That's the same thing as this world. This world has a truth inside of it, and that truth is revealed more on Shabbat. And that truth we have to work the whole days of the week, 6 days of the week, to reveal. But it's a secret. It's concealed inside of this world. This world is created from God's lower hay of God's name, and in that hay is concealed the upper hay of God's name, the first letter. And by means of us doing what we're supposed to, as we reveal it. So that's what we have to do, but we have to have faith that this is all true. But this should be our guiding light in everything that we do, say, or think. I'm trying to reveal in this world the true, precious value and holiness of every detail in the world. Okay. This is the next page. We're turning the page in Torah Or. I'm sorry. The Torah tells us that Abraham passed away. As he was getting older, as he called his son, and he said to his son, it says, Abram was old, coming in days. Coming in days. And Abraham knew it was time he had to marry off his son. Had to marry off his son. But this is right after the Akedah. So Abraham was like 130, 8 years old or something. And he said, okay, I got to find a bride for Yitzchak. So he chooses Eliezer. Eliezer becomes his servant, his shliach, his emissary. And the Rebbe talks about that in the Devar Malchut. But the sense is that Abraham was old. And therefore, he wanted to find a match for his son, Yitzchak. Yitzchak has to make the Jewish people. But the Torah doesn't tell us just that he was old. It tells that he was old and he was coming in days. What does that mean? He was coming in days. What does that mean? Excuse me. Okay, so here the Rebbe is going to point out a very unique message, and perhaps we could say the message of Judaism. The message of Judaism. How infinitely important is this world and every instant of this world. So this world, we just finished learning. It contains in it a tremendously deep secret, namely the essence of God that is waiting to be revealed. The upper hay, we said, of God's name. Waiting to be revealed. And God put us in this world in order to do it. But God did this thing called time. He made time. When he created the world in time. He could have created the whole world in one instant. But he didn't. He created, part of the creation is called time. Up in the upper worlds, there's not such an they're not so time bound. They're not limited. There's not the limitedness of time. Time is a creation. Good. So we're putting in this world for a certain amount of time. And the reason we're put in this world is to fix up the world. So every moment we're presented with new challenges, new difficulties, new opportunities, new blessings, every moment. So our life sort of unfolds. We don't really know what's going to be in the future. We don't really know what's going to be in the future, but we're trying to do our best in the present. And what we do in the present becomes, how do you say, preserved in the past, permanent in the past. Sometimes you can change in the past. You can change the past by regretting what you did and repenting and changing your attitude and saying, listen, what I did in the past was only a mistake. But what you did in the past itself cannot be changed. So that's time. There's past, present, and future. Good. And that's life. That's why we're put in the world, for life. It says in the future, what's this? Somebody's here? No. That when there's the raising of the dead, there won't be this idea of time. There won't be any more death. There won't be time anymore. Every second will always be present. There'll always be the present. Okay, this is not a thing we can understand. What does it mean? There's going to be the present. What is this? How can you do anything if there's no if there's no past, no present, no future? So you're just sitting there doing nothing all the time. That's not life. That's called death. Life is you're dynamic. You're moving. You're doing things. You're fixing up the world. So nevertheless, what's going to be the raising of the dead? We'll find out when that happens. Okay, so let's understand what the rabbis say. It is better to do repentance and good deeds in this world, one instant, than all of the life of all of the worlds to come. And this seems to imply even the raising of the dead. And there's doing good deeds in this world, good deeds with the proper attitude. That's called tshuva, returning to the Creator. That's worth more. Every second of this life is worth more than all of the worlds to come, all the heavenly worlds. Says the Rebbe, 1 second. You're telling me the heavenly worlds are nothing? What are you talking about? It says clearly that the whole idea of doing tshuva and maisim tovim is that from then become garments for the soul, that it's able to get the pleasures of the Shekhinah in the world to come. Like the Zohar says, Avram Zaken Baba Yamin says those upper days, not the physical days, Vaile, it says in the Zohar, woe to the person, to that person, the Gora that is missing Yoma Le'ela, one of the upper days. The Kad Ba'in Lavsha, because you need these garments of your good deeds to wear the garments, you require garments Be'inun Yomim of those days. A Yom the Pagam, and a day that's missing, the days of your life, so you're missing garments in heaven. So the whole purpose of doing Torah and commandments is to go to heaven, right? So it says, yeah, I mean, if it says so in the Zohar, it must be so. But here it says exactly the opposite, that good deeds in this world are for no purpose at all. It's just that's the biggest reward of all, is to do a commandment. They're not in order to get garments for the world to come. What do we care about the world to come? The main thing is this world, right? Sure, that's what it says. But in the Zohar, it says differently. How can that possibly be? And we'll discuss this tomorrow and find the answer. And now, Devar Malchut. One second.